All right, suppose you have multiple orgs that you're managing and you want to use flow automation to have a flow on one org that runs a flow on another org. And that might be useful for synchronization, a whole bunch of applications. So we're going to start by looking at what we're going to call our target org. So Strawberry here is our target org. And on this org, we've got a flow called demo target flow test v2. And mostly all this does is posts to chatter. So you can see here that it posts a message saying executed when it's executed. And I will go over here to my user account. That's where this chatter message is being posted. And you can see that the last one was 3 minutes ago. If I run this flow now, it's finished. Go back over here, refresh the screen. And you can see that it posted the chatter. So very simple flow. But what we're gonna do that's interesting is we're gonna run this flow, demo target flow test, from a completely different org inside of its flow. So let's go take a look. We've moved over to a different org. This is a Scratch org called Agility Ruby, but it could be any org. And on Agility Ruby, we have run flow in another org. And inside this flow, we've got an action called run flow in another org. And that's this new action that you can now install into your org to give your org the ability to run flows on other orgs that you control. And you can see down here, I have provided the name of the flow on Strawberry that I am going to run. And you can see that the base URL, Strawberry, is right here. So this action is going to reach out to Strawberry with a whole bunch of authentication information that we'll touch on later. It's going to run demo target flow, and it's going to pass some inputs. We'll touch on that later too. So let's run this. All right, we got a success message. Let's go back over here and do a refresh. And you can see that the flow executed message was posted. So that's pretty cool. That's the first time I've ever done this, ever had source org call and execute a flow on target org. So let's take a little deeper look at this action. The hardest part, frankly, of setting this thing up is often creating the authentication between the two orgs. And you may already have this. If you don't, we have a page that we've created that talks about how you create the connected app on the target org and the remote site setting on the source org, and how you configure the security between the two of them. So if you have this all working, consumer key, consumer secret, username, password with a security token, and I'll point, as I point out in the post, this is not actually a recommended practice. Sending the username and password is not recommended. There are more secure ways you can do this with digital certificates, but they're a little beyond the scope of what we're doing right now. Now let's talk about the inputs. The action has the ability to basically create key value pairs, and you can pass in a dynamic variable here, and you can specify the key that you want, and these will be sent as input parameters, and they basically have to be strings. So if you have, but the good news is if you have something that's not a string that you want to send from your source org to your target org, such as a record, you can use the serialize and deserialize actions that are available in another flow extension that you can install. So what I'm doing here, for example, is I'm taking a list of accounts and I'm outputting a string from this that I could then pass in as one of these inputs. I don't actually have this set up to do it, but I could go here and I could say, here is the output from the serialization. You know what? I didn't quite do that right. I have to do this. Serialized S-object list string. And I can call this something like my serialized account. That serialized list of accounts will come over here, and you can then deserialize it and turn it back into a collection of accounts, and then do something like save it on the target org. So very potent. Give it a try and let us know what you think.